Hello everyone, welcome to day 12 of my Halloween card making series. So for today's card, I am using this little pumpkin image from the Stampin' Up! Sweeter Treater set. This set is actually quite rare. My husband bought it for me on eBay like 5 or 6 years ago. But yeah, when I was in Michael's just a couple months ago, there's a set by Recollections that was actually quite similar to this. Like, it had little characters that were drawn the same way, and now I wish I had bought it because I almost think that they are done by the same illustrator that did this set. So if you don't have this set or you're looking for something similar, I definitely recommend you check out Michael's. It was a little cling mounted stamp set, and I don't remember the name of it, and of course I can't find it online. So, sorry. But I had to use the set for one of these cards because it's just adorable. So anyway, I'd stamped the image onto CC Designs Copic quality cardstock with Memento ink. And the only reason I used the Copic quality this time was I wasn't paying attention, because normally I use the Bell Asbestos for my Prismacolor images. So it does work, but I did notice a difference. I think the Bell Asbestos cardstock, it's a lot smoother and it blends nicer than this cardstock does, but it did still work. So I just went in with a bunch of different Prismacolor pencils. I have pictures at the end showing like specifically what colors I used, and then obviously blending them out with my odorless mineral spirits. Again, people keep asking, I've been getting emails about where I get my odorless mineral spirits. The ones I've been using, I get at Michael's. You can get other brands in other places. Gamasol is a very popular brand. You can get that at dickblick.com, and other retailers carry it as well. The brand I use is just the Grumbacher, and I bought that at Michael's in the art section. It's in a little tin. And then the blending stumps, I think dickblick.com carries them. I got some at Michael's. They're not too hard to find. So, and then the Prismacolor pencils themselves I bought at Michael's with a 40 or 50% off coupon years ago, like 5, 6, 7 years ago. I don't even remember. I got the great big set, and yeah, I don't have the tin anymore, so I'm not exactly sure which set I have, but it's whatever one has the most in it. So anyway, after I'm got the main image all colored and blended out, I'm going to go in and add. I got to ground him a bit and give him something to stand on so he's not just floating in space here. So I'm just using the French gray 50% and 90% to give him some ground to stand on. And then I had to add a bit of purple to the image, you know. You know me, I just gotta add purple for whatever reason. So I'm just using a little bit of the lilac color and then blending that out as his kind of shadow and shading and whatnot. So yeah, that is how I colored this little guy. Oh, and the sponge in that jar, that is just a basic stamping sponge. If I remember, I'll post a link to it at the All That Scraps page where I purchased it. I just cut it up, stuck it in a little jar, and that's all there is to it. So anyway, back to the card. I'm using the Fancy Pants October 31st pattern papers for this card. That's what kind of inspired the colors, and I just thought that worked really well with the type of image I was using. So just a few different little papers, and then the Martha Stewart Scary Fence Punch, I think that's what it's called. Anyway, I punched out some Kraft cardstock with that, but I didn't like how it just kind of blended into the pattern paper, like you can't really see it. So I'm just using my Stampin' Up! Whisper White crafting and just rubbing the ink bag directly onto the paper. And be careful with that. It gets all over your hands when you do it this way, especially with a punched out image like that. But it works. And then for the sentiment, I'm using my Ghostly Greetings stamp set and stamping the spook with Memento Bahama Blue ink. I know I've used this sentiment a couple times already, but I just can't stop using it. It just works with everything for Halloween stuff. I wasn't happy with how it looked the first time. I didn't like the too cute too. I thought I stamped it too close, so I just redid it and then trimmed it out and then edged the cardstock again with the Whisper White ink. Gotta have some consistency here. And then I also use the black mat that I'm going to mat the card front onto, and then the card base itself, which is also Kraft cardstock. Edge that with the Whisper white ink. And then all the pattern papers and the main image I edged with black ink. And just a note, with when you use your ink pads to edge cardstock and whatnot, you will fray the ink pads. That's why with my Memento ink I actually have a separate little dewdrop that I use because it gets frayed and it'll eventually just wreck it. So that's why I like the dewdrops, because they're just cheap little ink pads. They're only like a couple dollars. And then for the main image, I'm using dimensionals again to adhere it so that it's kind of popped up off the page. And then just my ATG adhesive to adhere the sentiment, because I wanted that to be slightly underneath. And you can see I'd also added some Stampin' Up! Black Gingham ribbon, which I always tape off on the back before I adhere that to the card front. So layered that on the black cardstock, and then layered that onto the card base itself. And then I decided I wanted to use that Viva Decor Glass Effects, the clear that I had bought in a recent All That Scraps haul video. So I really like the fine detail of the tip. This is my first time using it, so it'll be interesting to see how if it gets really like clogged up after use, because I know other ones like that, like Crystal Effects and that, they get so clogged up. It's just the nature of the product, but I like the shiny finish it added. So then for the inside of the card, I used another Spellbinders die to cut a piece of white cardstock and then stamp this little pumpkin that's also from that retired stamp set, and colored them in with my orange Prismacolors and blended it out. And again, I had to ground that too, just so it's not floating around on the paper. Using the French Grays again. Just added a little bit of ground, blended that out, and that's all there was to that. And then I wanted another sentiment on the inside of the cards, so I inked up the Halloween with the Bahama Blue ink again and stamped that onto this scrap of Kraft cardstock. And then inked up the Happy with the Memento Tuxedo Black. Trim that out and then edged that as well with the white ink. And then just fiddled with the layout for the inside of the card, because I wasn't sure kind of how I wanted things to go or where I wanted things to go. But once I had that kind of figured out, adhered everything together with my ATG and put on the little panel for the sentiment for the inside, and that's all there was to it. So then I just adhered that to the inside of the card, being very careful not to smudge that Glass Effects gel, as it needs quite a while to dry. And that's all there was to it. So thanks you all so much for watching. I hope you guys have been enjoying this so far, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!